Hello, I'm Hugh Bonneville, and I'm going to read you this gorgeous story, A Cat Called Smokey. Once upon a time, in the small town of Brooks Haven, there lived a very handsome cat called Smokey. His mistress gave him this name because he had the most beautiful, silky, shiny black fur. Smokey was proud of his special coat, so he looked after it very carefully. He washed his face and the outside of his ears with his large front paws. He licked his body all over with his pink, rough tongue, which is very good at cleaning cat fur and is even better than a brush which humans use. When he sat in the sun, purring loudly with a warm, cosy feeling inside his tummy, his fur coat shone like satin. Not only was Smokey very handsome, he was also a very brave and daring climber. He darted up tree trunks, leapt from branch to branch, miles up in the sky, laughing loudly, often hanging with his strong front paws, his long curvy tail swinging crazily in the breeze. This was especially brave because Smokey was a little handicapped. He had only 3 legs instead of 4. There were 2 at the front, but sadly only 1 at the back, which was behind his front leg. When he was little and could not run very fast, he was knocked down one dark night by a car which could run much faster than him. Luckily, the car driver was a very kind person who loved animals. He took Smokey at once to the vet as an emergency. It was not really the driver's fault because it was very difficult to see a small black cat walking in the road on a very dark night. When Smokey's mistress collected him from the vet, she was told that although he had survived the operation, sadly he had lost one of his back legs. Smokey was a clever kitten, and like so many handicapped animals, soon learned to walk slowly, falling down quite a lot, then to walk much faster, without falling down quite a lot, and at last to run and climb and swing from the trees. Another thing Smokey loved to do was to play music. He used to dance on the black and white keys of his mistress's grand piano. He soon learned which keys to play, and in the right order. His mistress sometimes used to stand in the music room doorway, listening to her clever cat, whom she loved deeply. However, there was one thing missing in Smokey's life: a pretty, dainty pussycat girlfriend. He had met a few young ladies from time to time, but when they saw he was different from other cats they knew, with only 3 legs instead of 4, they arched their backs, looked down their noses, and swung their tails in a mocking, unkind way. This left poor Smokey feeling very alone and sad, wondering why they had turned their backs on him. Sometimes tears fell from his eyes, splashing onto his whiskers. He felt perfectly normal and could do many things cats with 4 legs could not. He was the bravest and fastest cat in town. One day, when Smokey was dancing on the piano keys, a shy small cat was passing under the low window. She stopped to listen to Smokey playing his light-hearted music. To tell you the truth, she had walked quietly by on many other days. She was a small silver-grey Siamese with a pretty heart-shaped face, upright ears, large blue eyes, and dainty paws. Today she hesitated a moment or two, and then, gathering all her strength in her slender legs, she leapt up into the air and landed softly on the window ledge outside the music room. She looked up through the window and saw that Smokey had stopped playing the piano and was standing statue still, staring at her. Shyly she lowered her eyes, fringed with long pussycat lashes. He was entranced to see this vision of the most exquisite cat he had ever met in his whole life. His legs trembled with happiness, and he almost fell off the piano. The window was open a little to let in the warm summer air. Now Smokey was big and strong, and he had to squeeze himself as flat as he could to get through the space under the open window. He breathed in very, very tightly and just managed to get onto the windowsill to sit beside her. All that breathing in had made him feel rather dizzy, but he didn't fall off. "You are the most beautiful cat I have ever seen," he said. "What's your name?" "Tortilla," she whispered. This time she did not lower her lashes in a shy way, but gazed directly into his amber yellow eyes. "Shall we go for a walk?" Smokey asked. Light as air, Tortilla jumped onto the ground. Smokey dropped down beside her, and it was at that moment she noticed he was not like other cats she had met. He had only 3 legs. As they walked together, she thought it rather strange and different to see a 3-legged cat. Then she noticed that he moved with grace and balance in spite of his disability. As they began to talk and get to know each other better, she discovered that he thought about things in a special, clever and kind way. He didn't mind at all about the thin, shabby, tatty cats who lived rough in his grand neighbourhood. In fact, some were his friends, and he would save food from the tasty meals his mistress gave him to give to the strays. Tortilla noticed that quite a few rough sleeping cats came out of the hedges to say hello to him and thank you for supper last night. Tortilla came from a loving family who gave her a warm, comfortable basket and lots to eat, but she had never thought about sharing anything with anybody. At night, the hungry, homeless, thin, tatty cats often fought for food in the supermarket dustbins. Smokey and Tortilla began to walk together every day. She soon realized that the rough, sleeping cats were no different from herself or Smokey. Many had just been unlucky, abandoned, unloved, never given a warm, cosy home with breakfast and supper every day. Suddenly, she had an idea. Why not get hers and Smokey's fortunate friends to give daily a little meat or fish from their food bowls so that they could set up a cat-friendly food bank? Smokey thought it was a fabulous idea, so he and Tortilla asked all their friends in the neighbourhood to save every day a small amount of food to give lunch to the homeless cats. Smokey and Tortilla decided to become partners in their new venture. They asked for volunteers, and to their delight, many came to help. They found a secret place in the nearby wood, then raided a recycling bin to build a storage shed for the food donations. They built an extension to the shed so that there was shelter for the homeless. The tangle-furred cats suddenly started to take a pride in themselves. There was much cleaning of ears, faces and paws. Gradually, they lost their thin bodies, scruffy fur and sad eyes. They decided to call their refuge Cat's Lodge. Smokey and Tortilla began to realize that they loved each other. Tortilla had completely forgotten about Smokey's missing leg. She saw he was the most clever, caring and loving cat she had ever met, and would never meet any other like him. Smokey saw that Tortilla was not just the most beautiful creature he had ever seen, but that she was gentle, had become kind and generous, and looked far beyond his handicap to see the real him. One day, they decided to marry in the wood in front of Cat's Lodge. They were very excited as they carefully wrote and posted wedding invitations to all the cats in the neighbourhood. On their wedding day, there was music, dancing, and pussycat prancing. It was the happiest day for everyone, especially Smokey and Tortilla. Not only had they met each other, but together they had found a way to help their less fortunate friends in the community. They linked tails to show the world that they were partners who would love each other forever. The end.